Oh, nice. Get a little raid going, and Michael Pesta shows up. Good, good. I'm going to pin this lab. This isn't really the lab we're doing, though, just so everybody knows. This lab doesn't really matter. Fisherman. Very blurst image there of the shaking bass. But anyways, let me pin this for people over on YouTube as well. Pin the message. And we're not necessarily doing Slurm, but that's the message that I'm going to pin. So, I like the rotating potatoes. That's pretty good. What I decided to do tonight, I was kicking around. I thought I was just going to do Ansible all night and just like start at the beginning and do like Ansible administration, like administration in the Ansible space. But I was like, yeah, we'll do this. Fisherman, thanks for the Prime. You can use that anywhere. You could use that when you're watching Dead by Daylight or somebody playing Brotato, but you chose to use it here, so I always appreciate that. It's got to be getting late for you. It's like almost DGen hours for you, right? East Coast? You got to get up around 11 or so. We're getting on the back end of this project that I've been working on. I finished off the one that I used to keep having to go out to Chandler for, and then luckily for me, I'm a DGen, yeah. So the DGen hours, nothing happens good after midnight, right? But I finished out of the project up. We're closing out on this other project, but I do have to go. Oh, I have to go out to Hawaii for like a week to train the users. So I've been building the training, and it's funny. Like I'm dusting off skills. I mean, obviously as a college professor, I write curriculum and I do that. So that's what we're doing in our Linux Systems Administration course, but I'm doing this other one that kind of is prepping the users for the system. And yeah, the surfing photos, yeah. And I can't stop yawning. My wife just landed up in Utah. She's up there seeing the grandbaby all weekend. I couldn't go to that because I have... why didn't I go to that? I guess I could just hop on a flight and go up there, but I'm probably not going to. I'm probably just going to hang out at home. And I told the wife, that means I'm just streaming a lot. I said, if you're gone, I've got nothing to do. That means I'm just going to stream a lot. So what I'm going to do is we're going to run through something we've done a lot of times, but for newer people, this might be kind of a fun little primer for you on Linux. It may be a nice little challenge. Some of you have probably done some of this. The answers for a lot of it are already up in our Discord. And, you know, I can pull up while we're doing this. Let me pull up. Actually, let me find. I haven't opened this up in a while. Give me a second. Let me go throw our. I think I got them in here still somewhere. There's Socratic Ansible. Almost seems like a closed up Socratic Linux. I know I have them though. Let me see if I can open Socratic Linux. Let me see. Nah. I don't have it. Oh yeah, there's Socratic Linux. All right, so we'll go move this. We'll put this down here, like this, like we had done before. And as we go through our questions, we'll just see if we can figure out the answers, right? And I'll probably move this down here like this. And the first one will be easy because it'll be there. But let's go on. You can get in one of the labs with me if you want. We're not going to actually do the lab. We're just going to sit here and do some Linux. But oh man, I have been yawning. I'm like a Yawnosaurus Rex over here. A Rhinosaurus Rex. We're gonna talk about some Socratic. All right, so can you list the number of CPUs in a box? Right, you've been on a server before. You're down. You've got the links there to go to a. You know, I'm just on a Slurm page where we don't have to install Slurm. We could just use the computers for whatever we want. Do we have 2 nodes? Should have a node 01. Yeah. Okay, so we're on control plane and node 01. And can you list the number of CPUs? Like, do you know how many CPUs this system has? It's a little bit of a question, but it's also down there in the bottom right. And as we go through the different questions, we'll answer and add. And if anybody has any that add to this, that would be kind of fun. But like, how many CPUs are in this box? Socratic method so powerful. Yeah. The Socratic method is useful. It's also useful to like if you've got a group of people and everybody kind of wants to share their, what they think about something. So can you list the number of CPUs? And then I would ask further, like, why would you want to know the number of CPUs on a box? How about this? If you had 30 servers, wouldn't it be nice to know that they're all exactly the same? Because sometimes for certain types of workloads, if you're doing high performance compute workloads for sure, but some type of, like maybe you're doing Hadoop or Spark or some of these other things, some of those are going to be more performant if everything is the exact same type of processor and the exact same number of processors, right? And that's going to be something that you're going to figure out as you do that. And so what are some ways that we can list the number of processors here? I haven't seen any yet, but I imagine you guys are reading it down there. ls CPU gives us some info, and it tells me that there's one CPU. It's numbered 0. Prefer CPU agnostic workloads. Yeah, I mean, it's nice if everything works, but I can tell you in like real high performance systems, they have to be the same. The nodes and the connectivity of the nodes and the back-end file systems have to be the same too eventually. Let's see if the Python one works. See if our Python one works. That'll do it. We're adding it. We add them when they show up. When new ones show up, we add them. That's a good one. I like it. Import multiprocessing as MP and then print the MP CPU count. Perfect. nproc. nproc's one that we like, right? And my old way of doing it before I knew nproc, I would cat proc CPU info, and then I would grep-i for proc. And that's how I would get the number of processors. Or if I had to count up the processor, if there was a bunch of them, I would do a word count -l and it would just give me the one. There you go. Yeah, no one over on YouTube said CPU count can be handy for assessing virtualization requirements. I agree. Did you know that you can't have a one CPU system run Kubernetes? If you try to run Kubernetes and you run a kubeadmin command, it'll tell you, yeah, no, dude, you need at least 2 CPUs and 4 gigs of RAM for this to run. It won't even run things. So that's kind of fun, right? If you didn't know that, that's a real thing. Okay. DMI decode. So DMI decode we use a lot in some of the other stuff. Can we use that to maybe look for the number of processors? Where was that at? Hold on. Let me get this crap all out of my way. All right. DMI decode, find the CPU table. Processor information. I see the one CPU 0. And I don't see any other ones. So yeah, that's probably the only CPU in there. Yeah. How about, yeah, and then kernel from decode. So DMI decode. Sorry, dmessage. You probably meant dmessage, right? For grep-i proc. And that tells me there total of 1 processors activated. So I would buy that for $1 too. SMP boot said something. Hey Street Track, how's it going? Yeah, we're just hanging out, trying to find more people to come in and give us, just hang out and maybe some people are interested in saying, hey, that looks like fun. Maybe I'll go and jump in and do their Linux class. Right? We got a free Linux class down in Discord going. We're halfway through the first week of it. It's 16 weeks long. And all the stuff that I do on here, aside from when I say I'm building that course, our labs and all these other things, those are like discrete tasks and things that we do inside of Linux. But the things that I'm doing in that course are geared towards systems administration. In fact, one of the things I'm doing in my presentation is I'm taking when the guys, so by the way, here's the Discord. It's up here at the top. and we've got 155. We've jumped up 3 today. We had 153 earlier, but 155 people. We had 90 people in Discord last week. We had to jump to a different type of channel. We went to one of those stage channels. You guys can all still type back to me, but nobody else can talk, which is pretty good, because then it keeps like sound from affecting other people. And then the Code Cove, this is getting moved this Sunday only, because Ryan's going to be busy. So that's going to move back, I think, to 6 p.m. Eastern, he said. But verify with him. But he did say he was going to move this. So feel free to read about that. But he normally does it at 1 p.m. my time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern. Which is, my time is, it's 1 p.m. my time, and I'm -7. So he's -4, maybe? Whatever East Coast is. All right, so stuff's going on down in Discord. Oh, man, sorry, guys. I'm yawning big time. I'm just not getting enough oxygen. Also, Phoenix is cooling down. We had 113 days over 100 degrees, and just yesterday was our first day. I think we were only at 92. It was our first day in 113 days that hadn't reached over 100, so that was kind of interesting. Yeah, even yawning happening in Discord. Yeah. So we can list the number of CPUs. I think we pretty fairly got that. How about this next one? This next one is, can you tell me the speed in megahertz? Well, I think there's a fair amount of information already up here around maybe the clock speed in megahertz. Looks like it's something around 2,000. But there's some other ways to find it. And we found some of these the other day. We can do dmessage and grep for megahertz. So dmessage, grep-i for MHZ. And it would help if I spelled dmessage right? And there is the megahertz processor. But what's there to say that that's correct, or this other one up here that says 2000 is correct? Which of those is probably correct? I guess I don't know, right? So maybe I might have to do something like this. I might have to say cat proc CPU info. Yeah, there probably is a limit. Here's the actual speed of the processor, so that's probably correct. But yeah, there may be a limit of what's coming through to the virtual machine. Sure. But that's maybe the raw speed of that CPU that could be attained. Okay. So I can see a lot of information about my system. LS CPU will give me a good amount of information about my system. There's my CPU in megahertz as well. And then I'm on a KVM, and I have some flags. These flags don't seem super useful until you need them. And what the flags do is sometimes you'll be trying to compile some, we're very, even in the Linux systems administration world, I can tell you this, we are very spoiled from what it was when I started this. We used to have to build everything and find things and get the libraries, and there was all kinds of like finding stuff and pulling it down. And now a lot of times we just like apt calce, apt install calce, and we just install it on the server, whatever it is. But a lot of times when we used to compile like Lustre or Hadoop packages and some of these different types of things that were kind of being built up through the industry, you would have to make sure that the right flags existed on the chips that you wanted to use. So that was kind of a thing early on. It's more standardized now, so a lot of times the tooling and stuff like that will have been built and tested on an Intel E312 whatever Sandy Bridge and whatever. But that's a valuable thing to understand, what flags are there. And you can go look up what all the flags mean if you want. If you want to go look through the vendor spec, every one of these flags means something for that processor. What it's capable of doing, vulnerabilities may be tied to some of these, not on purpose, but in general. Linux kernel, most of the I/O system info reside on SHM Git for faster I/O rather than fetching inode and relookup over the page tables. Nice. Yeah, nice. So they show you, all the things that are kind of there for you to use, right? So, can you tell me the speed in megahertz? I think we figured that out. I think we know that. And again, why would I want to know these things? I tell you guys, sometimes you come to a new system and you've never been on it before, or documentation is severely lacking, and you want to make sure that all of your system looks correct across hundreds of nodes or something. And you write a little script that either hits all your nodes or a little Ansible playbook that goes and reports all that information back to you. And that's something I showed you guys how to do that in different labs and stuff. But they're up on Killer Code. I have labs that show you how to do that. But it's like there's all this stuff. Oh yeah, my Red Hat shirt. I was in a college class, guys. I was hey, Root guy for the Prime. I appreciate
Is
that.
there a sub flag?
Is there a sub flag? Yeah. Man, there's a lot of flags, and you know what? I tell you, I don't even know what they all mean, but I know I used to have to go check them to make sure that I could build things on certain compilers because. And again, I feel like Deckard Cain telling you to come sit by the fire and say, stay a while and listen. You know, like, remember from the old Diablo games? He's probably in the new Diablo games, too. I haven't played any of the new ones, but I feel like Deckard Cain saying, stay a while and listen. I'll tell you the story of, like, the old Linux days where, you know, I would be looking at these and then comparing them to the build and the compiler because I would be shifting, like... Man, like some of the things we used to have to do, I sit around and think, God, I fucking hate it. Like you hear about like dual booting, and most of you have probably dual booted Linux off of your Windows boxes over the years. I used to like quad and more boot because I would have in at Lockheed Martin when I had this environment that had like 17. We had like 17 factory environments before we pushed to the test on the government site, and I would have to move my big racks of P595 IBM servers. I would have to move them between different boot disks for AIX, HPUX, Solaris in some cases. Sometimes they'd be SLES, right? SLES is the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, SLES. Sometimes they'd be Oracle Linux because Oracle Linux used to have better drivers than Red Hat did for InfiniBand. So yeah, 595s were big old beasts. In fact, when we used to roll them out onto our floor, before they would, so we had a raised floor, you would have to put metal plates down because the metal plate would distribute the weight over more of the plate, so you could ride out. Otherwise, you would. This happened to a guy. You could go through the floor, and that's not good. So that can leave people lacerated in bad ways, which actually happened. But anyways, yeah. And then, yeah, the 595s and the 690. So the 595s and the 695s and the 695s had this top hat. And when the top hat was on it, the thing weighed over 2,000 pounds. So you had to roll the server rack in, and then you had to put it over there. Yeah, Johnny, man, I got this from Red Hat. Did any of you guys come to Ash's talk the other day? Ash came and talked to you guys in the Prologue group. It was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I got this from, I'm pretty sure from him. One of the times when he came out, like they brought a bunch of shirts for us and stuff. Or I might have gotten this I was at Ansible Fest in 2019 in Austin, and I was at the 2018 Boston Red Hat Summit. So I have a Red Hat Summit shirt, so that was different than this one. I got this from the Red Hat guys. They gave me this one directly back when I used to be the platform engineering lead for all of AAA. That was years ago. Well, not years ago, really. I only left there a little while ago, but feels like years ago because of all the Linux I've been doing, which is really all I ever do is Linux, but they were making me do it, or my boss now is making me do it like super hardcore, so. Yeah, I would like a satellite shirt. I moved satellite from 5 to 6 in a few different environments, so. Yeah, but I'm only wearing a collared shirt because I went to college tonight, so. And then it's funny, I was in one of the other guys' streams, earlier. There's a guy, Practical NPC. I was in his stream, and he was like, somebody asked, he's like, "You're not wearing pants right now, are you?" And I'm like, well, no, I'm not. And he's like, "Streamers are never wearing pants." And I'm like, technically, I'm not wearing pants because I wore dress pants tonight. And I'm not gonna stay in dress pants any longer than I need to. CPU prediction.py. Nice. Hold on, let's go look. Is it an Ansible code? Where is this? That's my Twitch stuff. Then we had Fisherman was streaming earlier. You guys should go hang out with Fisherman when he streams. I don't see it in Discord. Missed it. GitLab AIM. Oh, it's way down here. I don't see it. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't played with that. Okay. Let's keep going. Can you tell me the manufacturer of the chip? Oh, Johnny man, I'm very rarely in more than just like a shirt and shorts. And I had a friend years ago. We were doing one of my friend's bachelor party. This was I don't know, probably 15 years ago now. And one of my friends said, "Holy shit, I can't see Scott's feet. What's the occasion?" Because normally I wear sandals everywhere because I train Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so I like to be ready to kick off my sandals and be in my uniform. That's my uniform, right? Just no sandals. But anyways, it's kind of funny. My friend was giving me a hard time about that. So, all right. Anyway, so can you tell me the manufacturer of the chip? I think we know that it's Intel, and we would know that by looking at LSCPU. So we can clear the screen. And by the way, if you guys are just doing this, if you're just hanging out with me or whatever, pull up a Notepad, Notepad++, LogSec. Some of you guys really like Obsidian. I use OneNote too. I think OneNote's a perfectly fine tool. Find something and take notes of things that you don't know well, or find if you find cool commands that you want to use, and don't just go and say, "Oh, I'll just go grab the thing out of Discord," because this is all up in Discord. But when you write things down, when you spend time, getting your hands on it, you're gonna remember it better when you need it. You're not gonna go try to find. You're not going to go try to find that thing that's not there. Say we can access CPU count even if HDD broken or SSD. You should still, even if hard drive is broken or SSD is broken, as long as you have a disk or some image to boot to over the network, you can still get a system up. Oh, I didn't even tell you guys this. But I've got more projects coming, obviously for the Discord or for the Linux Systems Administration course on Saturdays, and some of you guys that came to the first one know that it is not just me doing this stuff with you. This stuff, I do this on stream, this burns time, this shows people how to do Linux, whatever. But our Linux System Administration course is really focusing on being the administrator and doing the things in an environment for a real reason, right? So I've been purposely making that a very different process for you guys. We're also being introspective and looking at the types of jobs we want and the things we want to learn, and then figuring out how to bridge the gap. Like, we're doing all those things down in there, which is totally different than what I normally do with you guys, which is just show you how to do a bunch of tasks like this. This is still valuable. The Socratic Method and asking yourself questions is still valuable. But the other stuff we're doing is like, how do we administer systems? How do we let somebody give us the reins and let us run their systems, right? It's a precursor to being an engineer, and it's a precursor to building things for a company. You get these skills to run a system. Freedom. There's a fair amount of systems like where you only need a boot. In fact, I remember a project years ago with a Raspberry Pi, because Raspberry Pis need the micro SD in them, right? And there was a project a while back where you could boot off the micro SD, and then look, even if you have a C10, which is like the fastest micro SD back in the day, I don't know, they probably have faster ones now, but you used to be able to get C10 and that was the fastest you can go. We used to boot these and then go off the USB, right? You got your 4 USB, and you can get a lot more speed off of those. So you could boot off of here and then switch over to your mounts over here, and then technically you could pull that SSD out. Street Track. I'm trying to, I'm going slow and like letting it build, because I know people need time to bake, right? You can't just go pick up weights 12 times in a row and be in super great shape and be a power lifter. But if you over time have your sessions and you keep working out in between and keep practicing your lifts and whatever, you can do a lot in 12 weeks. And it's the same thing here. People focusing on their work and focusing on these other discrete tasks and stuff, they can learn to do this stuff over time. So, can you tell me the manufacturer of this, right? I think we can figure out the manufacturer. So it's ls CPU. That'll tell us. We can do cat proc CPU info. That'll tell us, right? And then ls show. So l show and grep-i for Intel if we guessed or knew, and that would give us some Intel information. So what if I wanted to verify? So let's do something here. We're in a system now. We're doing all these things, but let's see if we could figure out if all the systems in our little environment here are the same. So let's see where I am. Oops, PWD. I'm in root. So I'm just gonna touch some file called servers. And then I can do this two ways. I could either VI servers, which some people don't like VI, but you got to get better at it. And I can say VI servers. And then in here, I'm going to hit I. And I'm going to say control plane, which is my server, and node 01, which is the other server in this environment, right? So then if I cat servers, I have that. And then I'm going to VI another file called hosts, because I'm going to need this host file for something. And in here, I'm going to go servers, like this. I'm going to say control plane, and node 01, right? So now if I clear the screen and I cat servers and cat hosts, I have these values. I could fix hosts, but it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to do a apt-y install Ansible. Now I only got 34 more minutes in this environment, so I can't sit around and talk too long. But what I wanted to show you is I could do a little bit of automation and figure out these same things across multiple servers, right? So watch this. Can you list the number of CPUs across a set of servers? Could I do that against, in this case, I only have 2 servers, so I'm going to do it against 2 servers. But could I make a bigger list and do it against 100 servers? I should be able to, right? So watch this. Let's clear the screen up. I'm going to show you 2 ways. 2 ways. Guys, normally I only know one way to do anything. But because I use Ansible and I had always used Bash forever, I can loop over both. So more servers, more hosts. So hosts is going to be for our Ansible, and servers is going to be for our Bash script. And it's going to look like this. For server in cat servers, right? There's servers. Do echo I am checking $server. And I could just say done right there and verify my loop works. Then I can come back right here and I can say SSH to $server, whatever server it is. And I'll just say ls, let's just say I wanted to find nproc. Checking control plane, 1. I'm checking node 01, 1. What if I wanted to do that same basic thing in Ansible? I could say Ansible -i hosts and then servers, right? But typically I put servers first because that's going to be the name of the inventory right here in the host file. And then I'm going to give the module of shell, and the argument here that I'm going to give is nproc. And I can hit both of those boxes and find the number of processors. Now, that is using Ansible in a kind of incorrect way. What would be better is something like this. What I should do is I should go look at Ansible, the native way that Ansible wants to do that, which is setup. And I can run Ansible with setup and then just maybe give like a filter. And that filter can be like Ansible, let's say like CPU. This might work. Let's see. Is there anything Ansible CPU? No. We can cheat the first time like this and just grep-i for CPU. We're kind of cheating here though. This isn't really the way you'd want to do it. Ansible processor. So now we go in here and we say Ansible filter to processor. We could probably get away with that. And then this would give us Ansible processor. And then there is all the information about the system with just that little simple Ansible command. And then now, some of you have been around Ansible enough. Some of you probably want to go spend some time in the labs if you don't feel good about it. Some of you now know that I can go in there with that, and I can say, as long as the CPU has 1 or more, let's say, then yeah, now I can do these are real variables. I tell you guys all the time, Ansible's like walking around. I wish I had my little backpacks over there, but like my laptop backpack, Ansible kind of goes from start to finish with a little backpack on, and it keeps all these variables about servers. And it keeps all this stuff, and you can throw more stuff in there as you go. Yeah, so setup is the same exact thing that runs when you do facts. What's the thing? Gather facts true. Setup is the same thing. So setup is gather facts, but outside that's exactly what it is. So little known fact, ops to dev, and this is something you only find at scale. Now, like I'm not like trying to call anybody out or be super chat about this, but I'm gonna tell you I have hit Ansible deployments against tens of thousands of servers, right? And what you will sometimes find when you hit that many nodes, well, one immediately when you go over 500, you see significant slowdowns. Even on, I was running boxes that had 512 cores in them with 2 terabytes of RAM, and they could not hit, 2,000, 2,600 nodes in like the NOAA systems that I was working on back at NOAA a few years back. I'm still technically on the NOAA projects, but I don't do that much with them. But hold on. What'll happen is you'll slow down greatly just gathering facts or just doing whatever, and Ansible's holding all this stuff in its SAC, even though it's got a whole bunch of memory, it's using so much memory to hold all these variables. So what you can do with setup, ops to dev, you can say gather facts no, but then you can use setup and you can only go look at like the small little component of either a group of servers or all your servers that you want. So maybe you only want to gather facts about like a small little component of the system, and you can go look at this. Watch, you go Ansible-doc like this, doc, and you say -s and setup, right, like this, and it'll give you the doc, and it'll give you, there's these fact paths and gather subset. So then you said, I want to gather a subset of just the networking devices because that's the only thing I'm going to do. Yeah. Or I only want to know about the hardware. By default, it's all. Setup goes against all. But you can't. But look, this is one of these things, guys. This is the same thing with like scripting. This is why if anybody push come to shove, I know probably as much computer science as most people that are out there coding. But I don't code professionally. That's not what I do. So, but hold on. There's some freedom in that. My buddies that code, some of you guys even here that code, you guys have to go to a certain level of precision. And you guys do this O and N and all this whatever stuff and like recursion and being efficient and stuff. I don't have to do that. My stuff is janky. My stuff works though, but it does not matter to me if a function that gets called inside of Ansible takes a second or 10 milliseconds. It doesn't matter. But it does matter when you start to hit thousands of. Does that kind of make sense? You do want to tighten the belt a little bit and go, all right. If I can save half a second here across 10,000 systems, I will do it. Because, yeah, I need to. Otherwise, we're going to be here for a week to do this one little thing that we just want to push out. There's other ways, like we invert things and we make servers pull their own information down and then it happens way faster. And there's all these things. I've told you guys about like the inverted model that I put into the NOAA project, the NOAA that's currently up. The dogwood and cactus thing. I have done things. I did things on there that made their stand-up of servers that they thought was going to be the long pole in the tent. We had 1 hour from bare metal to up. You had to be able to bring that system up in under an hour. My component of it, which was all the Ansible and the servers coming up, was under 5 minutes. And they were like, we thought that was going to be like 20, 30 minutes at least. And I said, nope, I'm done. I remember we were doing like a test one time and we were at like 13 minutes and they're like, they're like, Scott, you're done? And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. My stuff's ready. Go to the next part. We were doing like a sandbox, like a walkthrough, and we were like bringing the whole cluster up from dead, from down. And they were like, you're done? And I'm like, yep, I'm done. My stuff's up. Hit all my servers. They're all up. Well, I mean, there'd be like in 2,600 nodes when you turn them on, you will have you should be happy if you only have 5 that are down, but you may have upwards of like 15 down, just what we call the infant mortality rate of servers, right? but it's possible that some servers just don't come up after a reboot. That happens, and then you got to go massage them, and 10 of those will come up, and then you'll have 5. and you know, then one or two of those will just have power supply. It's always like a thing. It's Pareto's rule. If any of you guys know, 80% of the outputs come from 20% of the inputs, right? Like it's basically the loud complaining servers. If you guys haven't heard Pareto's rule, it's a pretty good one. It'd be nice to predict hours before the server goes down. Sure. All right, so guys, look, this is what we're doing here, right? We're getting in here. I'm gonna hit Q to get out of there. What's our next one? Oh, we did all those. Can you tell me the architecture? We did all that. Can you tell me if this system here is physical or virtual? Got these two servers. Can I tell, is this system physical or virtual? What tools might I use for that? Oh, look, I think we had a bunch of these. So if you guys can see those, go try any of those commands. Can you tell me if the system is physical or virtual? That might be a little easier for some of you guys to read. There you go. Boom. I talked for 2 hours in a college class earlier. I didn't realize how thirsty I was. I had to go on campus on Tuesday night and Thursday night for my class, and then both nights the 3 students that were supposed to show up didn't show up. I'm like, what the hell? Like, where you guys at? Don't you want? Because like there's requirements in college. Like if you have VA benefits and you're on site, you have to have so many attendance in the class, or you don't get your it's called BAH if anybody cares. I got a very little bit of post 9/11. I had a post 9/11 GI Bill, but I didn't get it because post 9/11 didn't exist when I got out. So even though I was in post 9/11, that GI Bill came up later. So some of you guys probably know about that. Some of you guys probably dealt with that stuff. But how's it going, Monkey Man? We are doing professional Linux users group stuff, but we're not working super hard tonight, which is kind of a theme of my stuff if you think about it. I don't try to work too hard if I can avoid it. This is stuff you can do. System D, detect, vert. That's a fun one. KVM. Should have some of your GI Bill left. You should use it. Oh, Root Guy, we don't charge anything for the class. The class is free. But I can tell you, I was gonna say, it's funny you say that. You can use your GI Bill for like, if you had like, if you did have somebody that would charge you for stuff, you can actually use your GI Bill for that, like on site, like actual class. I found that out because I have a bachelor's, 2 masters, and then I'm almost, well, I'm not almost done, but I'm working on my doctorate right now. And but the doctorate, I'm not, my GI Bill's all done. But I think I had 10 more months of it, but I'd never got around to using it. I already had 2 masters. I'm like, what am I going to use this thing for? I don't have anything else. Use it for flight lessons. Nice. Go flying around and stuff. Yeah. All right. So can you tell me if the system's physical or virtual? Show. Oops. I need to get a new keyboard. I was telling you guys earlier, my F key is completely wore down. So, and then they were like, well, just don't use the F. And I'm like, yeah, but that's how I align my whole hand. I was taught, you know, the little nubs on F and J. That's how I was taught to type. I don't have to look at my hands. I just have to put my hands on there. And my F key is completely rubbed down on this cheap little keyboard I have. So that's not the only reason I don't type as well as I used to, but that's part of it. Show-C system. This one was good. Yeah, look at that KubeVirt. We're underneath the Red Hat 8.6 box, and then we are running an Ubuntu system. Yeah, I was typing too much F. Yeah. Oh, I was actually looking for a keyboard earlier. I should pull up keyboards, and you guys should tell me which one's a good one. Actually, I can ask you guys now, because like it's funny. People on Twitch are always highly opinionated. What's a good keyboard I should go look at? I don't need a super loud clacky mechanical one, but I did play piano my whole life, so I can do a clacky one. I can do a hard, like I've played weighted keys my whole life, so I'm okay with typing on something like that. Which one did you say, Twisted? I don't mind a split keyboard. I don't need one necessarily. What's Keychron? Hold on. Oh, okay, okay. You know what? I wonder if this is one of the ones my wife has. My wife has a really nice keyboard that that's purple, and it's real loud, clicky clacky. Actually, this one kind of looks like hers. I don't know about purple, but the reason she got hers was it was purple. Cole MK. Are any of these purple? Somebody with normal color vision help me out. I feel like that one looks like my wife's one. This one right here. Oh, so Twisted. I've watched like Midnight Simon build keyboards. I am not, guys. I am not super interested in building my own keyboard. Let me tell you that. I'm not the guy that would like to put a ship in a bottle ever. That's man. Like I'll do a lot of my own stuff, but man, I can't do that. No, I can't. I can't do that. I look. I probably could do that, but my patience would probably not work. Hold on. ZSA Moon Lander. Let's see this little guy. Oh, look at that little guy. In stock, ships in 2 weeks. Used by translators. Used by Oh, I'm a problem solver. I mean, I make most of the problems that I solve. Yeah, the switches do matter because they're the weight, right? They're the weight and the heft of the keys, which I'll take the weight and the heft of keys. That's that. I again, I played piano. I'm fine with hitting a key, like striking a key. Blue switch equals super loud. Red is not good for heavy handers. Yeah. Well, I alternate depending on what I'm doing. Quartz. Sometimes I'm like, and it's funny. Sometimes I'm really gentle with my keyboard. I've noticed, and sometimes, like when I'm really working on something, I will find myself like beating the crap out of this keyboard, and I don't even mean to. I just be like, "Oh, oh, something just happened." Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So we'll retire Keychron because that one, that looks like it's got some interesting stuff. We'll leave ZSA up there. What other ones you guys got? Did I miss any? Did I miss any over on the YouTube side? I don't see any on the YouTube side. Code keyboard? What is that? What's this code keyboard? Is this a mechanical one? See, I'm okay with it just being black. Do I have to build this one myself, guys? Someone help me out here. Do I got to build this thing myself? I just pay them to build it for me? Oh, God, I don't want to do it. Keychron K2 Pro, so good. So yeah, and guys, I'm not super picky on like my keyboard. I just want something to work on, and I don't mind spending some for it either. Like that's not. I mean that's pricey for a keyboard for me, but that's not like out of like something I could do. Signed and customized in the USA. Okay, okay. What are some of the looks? Cherry MX. Is there a blue? Is the blue like just backlit, or is I don't see the keys blue? What am I missing here? Is it just the backlight that's blue? By the way, I'm colorblind, so help me out. Is that backlit? Because it doesn't. No, I don't see any blue on this. Is it like a really subtle, like backlight? I don't see how that's blue. Oh, by the way, I need the keypad on the side, guys. I have to. I literally have to have a keypad, like a keypad on the side. I can't do it without it. ZSA Moonlander, huh? I wanna zoom in on this thing. Are those wireless? Interesting. Kinesis advantage 2. Oh. Oh, wow. Look at that little guy. What the hell's that guy doing? That's, oh, man. That's an interesting little... So they've got some of these advantage ones, too. And here's the advantage 2. Ooh-wee! 369. And then you know what? Guys, if I let's be honest here. If I spent $369 on a keyboard, I would have a camera down on the keyboard so you guys could watch me type. I would never have in a million years done that, but if I spent that much on it, I'd be like, this is now part of the stream. This is part of the stream. You guys are gonna watch me type now. I've never made you guys watch me type before, but I would absolutely do it. That would be, yeah, keyboard ASMR. Oh man, what's going on over here? I just want to see. Hey, this doesn't look terrible. I think I could get used to using my thumbs like that. I do like, well, no, those are just F keys. I kind of need, well, I kind of need one of those Moonlanders around 300 as well. Okay. Which again, that's not like a price break point or anything. It's just that's not. Oh, look at that guy. Oh, you could like change him around and like stand him up and stuff. Oh man, like you could have like angles on this thing. Jeez. Hmm. We even got an Allen key on there. They call it tenting, huh? Is that like a technical term there? Hmm. Oh, you gotta take it with you somewhere. All right, you put it in there. Little travel bag. That goes into a bigger bag, like a European man bag. Just kidding. That's pretty funny. Fishermen, they're telling me about different keyboards. I need a keyboard. My little like $12 keyboard that I use I've rubbed off the F key, so I can't find where my hand goes anymore. So they're trying to get me to look at some other ones. I'm not saying those other ones aren't good, but I might stick with this because I'm pretty vanilla. Well, one of these type of ones, anyways. All right, I'll think about it, guys. I'll think about it. All right, we only got 12 more minutes in this lab before we got to restart the lab again. But could we tell if the system was physical or virtual? Yeah, we had all these commands over here. And if you wanted to, while I was messing around doing all that other stuff, you could have been typing those commands in, right? And this is the heart of figuring out, do I know how to like find things in the system and look around? And I remember when I was a kid, there was this little game on I had a TI, like, it was a TI something, some Texas Instruments little computer. You put these little cartridges in, and one of the games that me and my brothers always hated, we never got into, was you were like on this beach and you had to say like go north or go south, and like we never got into it. But like as an adult, it's like that's all I do is like sit in this little system that's not really telling me anything until I ask it questions, you know? Because I tell you guys all the time, there's only two things you do in the command line. Only two things you do. You set values and check values. Those are the only two things you do. Well, and you swear a whole bunch probably. But you could swear at the computer all you want. It's not going to behave any differently, right? Ah, yeah. Chem class just pointed out some of those didn't actually have number pads on them, and I need a number pad. But I imagine there's probably like a function to change the right one or something to a number pad. I bet there was something like that. So, Fisherman, do you use any kind of special keyboard? I need to keep up with the Fisherman Guy Bros. of the world? Or do you just use like a little cheap one? Mine's like Macaulay. It's like some like $8 to $12 keyboard that I think I probably ordered a couple of them off of, like, probably for my Raspberry Pi projects. In fact, Fisherman's not listening to me. All right, we'll keep going. Can you tell me if the system is physical or virtual? Yes, this is a virtual system. Spin the CPU up to a high load for 3 minutes. Can you do that? And what are the different ways you know how to do that? We have at least 3 right here that we know. We could do apt-y install stress and use the stress tool if we wanted to. That's down there. We can use the one that I used to always use, which is just taking a bunch of random bits off of the processor, spinning them up, zipping them up, and then throwing it all away and doing a whole bunch of those. And in this case, we did 100 threads of that in a row. And then somebody used OpenSSL speed multi and then ran that against nproc, which is 1. And it just sat there and it just tries to do a whole bunch of OpenSSL stuff. So if you want to see these, this is what it looks like to stress the system out for 3 minutes with stress. And if you were going to do this command, what I would tell you is before you hit that, is I would make a new terminal over here. And I would say something like this. Let's just run the stress over here. Oops. Grab the stress. I'll just run it over here because it's not going to be doing anything. And then I pop back over here and I say while true, do uptime sleep 2 done. And we can just sit here and watch this system spin up to a high load right now. So here's its 1, its 5, and its 15-minute load averages. And we're going to see the system start to spin up. Wait, did I jump? Did I do? Okay. Yeah, stress-C4 timeout 1. Yep. So we're going to see the system start to spin up to a high load here, right? Hey, how's it going, AFK Alien? Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Oh, and Ekenweez, I missed you, but hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We are, not taking ourselves too serious today, just kind of hanging out. Atomic Django, is there a way to do HTOP and display a bit more like Task Manager in terms of graphics? Yeah, you could use top, and HTOP you might have to install, and then there's a tool called ATOP that is pretty good as well. You can play with any of those, Atomic Django. I don't even show people top most of the time because I feel like you can go look up and kind of get good at top later. What the heck's going on here? This should be spinning up higher. What's going on over here? Did I not? Good God, guys. You guys got to stop me. Look, now it's going to spin up. Oh my God. I didn't even hit enter over there, guys. All right, somebody needs to stop me. I need to be stopped. By the way, did I tell you guys right as I started the stream about an hour ago, a little over an hour ago. It's just under. My wife landed in Utah, so she's up there until Sunday hanging out with the grandbaby. The grandbaby's almost 4. Did you guys know that? Our grandbaby is almost 4 years old. In fact, some of you might have remembered I became a grandpa when I was still in my 30s. Which is wild because I did a lot of stuff. I mean, I turned 22 in a war zone, so that was a long time ago. Turned 22 in a war zone. I became a college professor at 28. And then I'm a granddad. Yeah, I became a grandfather at 39. So, yeah, that's always fun. Yeah, he's a pretty good little guy. He's pretty good. Oh, speaking of being a grandpa, Ranger, man, guys, Ranger's really slowing down. I know I say that all the time, but Ranger's I went to give him. We got these little those little bacon. There's these little bacon treats called I think bacon strips, and they look like they actually look like crusted up like bacon, and they're almost like a harder bacon, like a crispy bacon. And I went to give Ranger one when I got back from the college a little while ago, and he just either his eyesight's bad or his coordination's really down. He was laying there, and I put it near him, and he was and he couldn't grab it, man. I know I've been going on about that, but I'm kind of really sad about Ranger because he's going downhill fast the last few weeks. And I told the wife, I'm man, he has a hard time walking in. So his back, he's got a door in the back that's big enough for if you were If you were under 6 feet tall, and you went down into like a crouch, like a duck walk, and you were an average sized human, you could probably walk right out his doggy door. He's got a really big doggy door. He hasn't been able to get in it the last few days. Like I'd come in from the gym early in the morning. I go to the gym, wrestle from 5 to 6, come back. He knows if he can get to me before he knows if he can get to me while I'm in the laundry room, I have to give him a treat. This is like a rule with us. He has trained me and I have trained him. And he was like trying to come in the other day and he couldn't come in. Like his back legs were too weak because it's like this is a little higher to get up into this thing, but it's a huge door, like way bigger than a dog his size needs. And he just couldn't like really do it, man. Forget H top, B top. I've never used any of those. I mean, I've used H top. Oh look, this thing's still spinning up because we did a certain amount. Oh, it's done. It's done. So now we should watch that drop back down. And the question is, so could you spin up a high load? Sure. Could we spin up another high load on this box? Let's see how high this one will send it. This one will send it. So what did this one get to? This one got to 799. No, it got to 834, 837, 866. Oh no, this one got to 910. Hold on. How high did this one get? This one all the way to 1027. Is that the highest? 1027. All right, let's go back to this one and let's see if this one. God damn it. Copy. Let's run this one, and we're just going to spin up a whole bunch of processors. And we come over here. Let's see how high we go. No, ops to dev. That is not 10% of CPU. That is wait time for a processor to get onto the CPU. So no, that is much higher than 10% of the CPU used. Let's see how high this one goes. This one may go so high that this stops responding. No, ops to dev. So that's different. DNF-Y install stress on Rocky. Yeah, on Rocky it'll be DNF-Y install stress. Yes. Oh, I might have just crashed the. Did I crash it? So ops to dev. It's in relation to the amount of processors you have. So on this system, anything higher than 1 is bad because the system is now waiting. Any new processes are waiting for time on the kernel. That's generally how we read that. So if a box has 64 processors in it and you're running like 37 all the time, that's not bad. But I just crashed it. I did this one. I spun up a whole bunch of processes that were doing nothing, and this box just tanked. It's not even giving. It's probably so high of load that it can't even present. And that's kind of rare, but it's very rare that SSHD would still not be able to get Bash coming back. But maybe. Yeah. I think Ranger. Oh, I didn't press enter. Yeah. Honorable, you got me. I definitely didn't press enter. Yeah, I think Ranger feels fine. I think he's just old, right? Yeah, this server's done. I cooked it. So, anyways, could we spin up high load on a box? Sure. And why would we want to do that? Maybe, we want to see if some new process that we're going to run is going to still be able to be performant at the level that we want, even if the server is operating over 60% load or something. I don't know, maybe we just have some base load that we put on a system and then we run things to see how they behave at a higher load. You guys, there's all kinds of reasons to do different tests, but you define your tests, you make sure that your control's the same, and then you figure it out. Getting an unable to match. Oh, Quartz, I apologize. You might have to do DNF-Y install epel. So it looks like this. Hold on. You might have to do this. I think stress is part of the epel packages, which are the extra packages for Enterprise Linux. So you might have to do that, Quartz, and that'll install a repo for epel, and then you can do stress. I'm pretty sure that's how that works on Red Hat. I haven't done that in a long time, but I'm like 90. There's some percentage pretty high in my brain that's what you need there before you run the other one. So. That's probably what it is. Chem class, how did I build up my bash skills? I live here. Like I live in Bash. That's literally what I do. I don't think I have any better Bash skills than anybody else that does this. I'm just kind of a guy who sits around and does this. Traffic King said, question, what time is the class on Saturday? Good question. If you go in Discord, it will be up here in the top left. It'll be in the top left. And it'll be in your time zone. For me, it's Saturday at 3 p.m. But I am UTC -7, so I'm Pacific time. If you guys are on the West Coast, I'm West Coast. If you're on the East Coast, that'll be 6 p.m. If you're in Hawaii, that'll be noon. If you're in Europe, I think that's 10 or 11 for some of you guys, I think. I'm not exactly sure. But here's the thing, for people that missed it last week, we're still in the middle of it. We're still in week 1. You can still go and catch up on everything. But I did a recording on Sunday morning, and that seemed to work for people. So we will do the course. Look, we got 155 people. We had 90 people down in our Discord, in our chat channel. We'll do this. We'll get 155 people, and hopefully we get that many. And then it's free, right? You just go down there, just do a whole bunch of stuff. But it's free, but you have to give it. There's some hard work, right? You have to come in here. You have to go to Prolog Projects. You got to go download all the stuff that I talk about and work through it. And then you have to answer these discussion questions. You have 2 posts to do this week if you want to be part of this. You got to do discussion post 1. Again, you don't have to rate yourself for us. You can, though. But what you need to do is tell me what you want to learn in this course and what type of career you're shooting for. Some of you guys are doing Linux because you want to be better programmers, right? Like Linux is just a base for a lot of you to go. Some of you want to be research scientists. I saw some of that stuff going on. Some of you want to do security. But Linux is a great like base engineering skill set to have to go do all of those things. So there's 75 messages in here, man. Jeez. And then down here, to discussion is like go find yourself a job that you might want to do, and then tell me what you don't know how to do and what you do know how to do, and then how can we close that gap, right? And people have been down here dropping all kinds of cool stuff, right? And then we got a thread, and then you got to get in on that. And then in here too, down here, there's a worksheet. You got to fill out that worksheet by next Saturday. That's only a couple days away. You can look at the syllabus. The syllabus is there for you guys. And if you don't want to do, like if you don't want to grab all this stuff and download it all, the worksheet also has just a text version. So you can go and just work through these things. You do have to watch the video to pick up some of this terminology, or you got to go spend some time on the Googles. You probably want to grab some links and terms and useful tools. There was so many, like when I was in there talking, people could people could message. There was a good amount of messaging going on. I'd say probably like 10 to 15 messages a minute. There was like a lot of messaging going on, and people were posting stuff and they were finding relevant things. And if it were me taking it, like I'm the one sitting here talking and doing stuff, so I couldn't grab all the things I wanted, but some of you guys could be just grabbing that stuff and like going and reviewing stuff later. And you would have, from our 1.5 to 2 hour meeting, you would have 20 more hours worth of stuff to go chew through during the week, if that kind of makes sense. And the goal of this is to find something that's interesting to you and then spin you off in that direction, because, you know, that's what you guys want to do as engineers, right? Get better at this stuff. Look, somebody posted here since I've last looked. All right. Okay, so, my scenario died. So spin up the CPU to high load. We did that. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this browser. You can use any of these. I have this pinned if anybody wants to do this lab with me. Traffic King, already complete assignments and tasks. Want to create study material documentation for the course. Also was thinking about augmenting your Linux CML. Yeah, my command line primer is like, man, that thing's 15 years old. So yeah, I would welcome somebody fixing that one. Absolutely. Yeah. I think the primer's still good. It's just probably could be modernized. I was much earlier in my career. That was like the beginning of my college teaching. I think there's things that I would talk about differently and do differently than that one. So, all right, let's get this out of the way. Let's go do some memory topics. Let's check on Ranger again. Oh, look at him. That Ranger dog. Man, I didn't grow up with dogs. I didn't have a dog until Ranger, and like, you know, I get it now. Like same way like you guys that have kids. I mean, I have a kid and grandkid, but like people can't understand unless they have a kid, you know? Like, and I feel the same way about a dog. Like, you can't understand until you have a really good dog. everybody loves Ranger. Like literally everybody. He's super chill, and now he's just having a hard time walking around. So, all right. But just want to check on him, make sure he's downstairs. And the wife's out of town, so I'm the only one that can go down and feed him and pet him every day and all that stuff. Tell him he's a good boy. Mostly I tell him that he's a freeloader, but sometimes I tell him he's a good boy. Just depends. Hold on, let me pull this out again real quick. I gotta fix something. Whoops. Not good. Not what I wanted to do. I want to pull that in, pull that over. I want to move this just over, and then I want to collapse this down, because that'll keep the thing, that'll resize it all right. All right. Yeah, Ranger's pretty good. Robodom. Ranger is my friend Jared Smith that comes talks to us every now and then. It is his favorite dog ever. So most people like Ranger dog pretty good. So all right, let's keep going. Memory topics. Can you tell me how much RAM we have? So, how much RAM do we have? We got free-m, pretty good one. We got cat, proc, mem info. This is going to dump way too much info to the screen. And then htop. But htop isn't always there, but htop's pretty okay. That tells us some cool stuff. I don't really use any of those, but that's pretty good. Seen some machines going up to 14,000 CPU usage. That output cannot be from the uptime command, right? No, the 14,000 CPU usage that you would see would not be from uptime. You would be seeing the 14,000 from if you were doing if you're doing if you were doing IOStat -C or something, you might see that. Hold on. Let's see. This is back on processing for a second, but hold on. What is that one other one that I use? Hold on. Not mproc, but IOStat -C will show you these percentages can go higher than 1,000 or higher than 100. Absolutely. Idle can never go higher than 100, but these percentages and overall CPU usage can be higher than 1,000 for sure. Yeah. Where would you see that? You'd probably see that in top. I don't really watch a lot of top, but you could see CPU really, really high, and really one of the banes of my existence and my career as a Linux person is when people do Java on top of Linux. Now, look, I think Java's perfectly fine, and running Java virtual machines inside of Linux, perfectly fine. But then when the guys come to me and say, hey, can you help us troubleshoot? And I'm like, it's a black box to me. I just see that it's sucking up 14,000, CPU. It's 14,000% of the CPU. That's all I see. I don't get any other logging out of it that you don't give me from your code, So that's one of those lessons in observability, right? Like, if you want to observe something, you have to write that in there, which is one of the reasons why there's good tools. Like, one of the reasons people like Prometheus so much is you can put the monitoring right into your application, and it'll just go send your counters off if you want it to. You can just send stuff right out, and it'll expose it, and then it'll be captured by Prometheus, and then you can see the relevant information about your specific application. Whereas me, I just get this. This is all I know. I know Cube API server and Kubelet are doing something, but I don't really have much visibility into them, So, anyways, how much memory there is? Yeah, you can see how much memory there is. Free-M is one of the better ones. I hit we had a system the other day that had over 1 terabyte in it. I've had a few systems that I've worked on over the years with over 1 terabyte of RAM, and I did a free-T just to see the one there. I thought that was kind of funny, because normally, if I do a free-G, I'll see, 1 gig, which is not great, and it's free and so if you go to man free, it's not free-T. T is total. Sorry, it's actually, you have to go over to T for Tebi bytes, --Tebi, like that, and then petty, and then for me it was terabytes. I wanted to see it in terabytes on my system. Hey, Enzo Bear, how's it going? Yeah, free-HM is kind of nice too, yeah. Enzo, I'm doing good. I had to teach a college class a little while ago. None of my students showed up, so basically I just ran an online class from there instead of home. That was kind of silly. And but my college, like we moved, we were in a big. DeVry Phoenix has been at the same location since like the 70s, and they finally just closed that one down, and I think they sold it all to Carrington College, and then they moved us up north a little bit. And it's funny, like I used to have to drive 20 minutes to the school. Now I got to drive about 3 minutes with lights. Well, if the lights hit me bad, then probably like 8 minutes. But without lights, it's nothing. Like without the lights in the way, it's nothing. Although I do have to cross two freeways, but like I go under the freeways, but it's not so bad because there's not a lot of traffic really. So even though I go like rush hour, because when I have to be over there, I had to be over there at 5 today because I wanted to run my online class first, and then when my students got there at 6, which none of them showed up, then I would have I was going to do my labs with them, and then I was going to go back to teaching them the lesson. So I was going to do lesson, labs, lesson. So, all right. I've never played with NeoFetch. What is that? Somebody showed me that before, I think. Did they? Let's see. Oh, whatever. I don't care. I think somebody showed me NeoFetch before. So let's go look at this one. I don't really use. Some of you guys know, like, well, it's easy to tell I'm an older engineer, but I find a way that works and I don't mess with other stuff. NeoFetch has somebody's shown me this before. Oh, look at that little guy. Yeah, you have like NeoFetch on a system and have that as part of your login. Yeah, that's pretty good. Uptime, packages, shell. Look at that, bash shell, terminal, KC terminal, nice. All kinds of information out of there. Yeah, look at that. Hey, Chief. That's funny. All right, NeoFetch does show us how much memory we have. It's pretty cool. And then that's Ubuntu, right? That's the Ubuntu symbol there. Does that change based? Does NeoFetch change that based on? Hold on, I gotta check now. Hold on. You guys are gonna make me go check. Rocky. What's one probably nobody's in? Oh, somebody is in here. Back out of there. Somebody's in there. Let's go to 11. Nobody's in 11. All right. That sucker goes in all. Yeah. Hold on a second. So, DNF install -y. I can just DNF install NeoFetch. I don't even know. I've never even played with this. Do they have it right here? Yeah. Let's see what this looks like. I don't even. And by the way, when this box reboots, it'll just go back to a clean node, right? That's how all the Rocky servers that we have for the lab work. But yeah, I'm kind of interested in what this looks like. Because that would be slick if it was different for each of the different, like if Rocky was different than Ubuntu. And I just did it. Oh. Hold on. That's my fault. All right, I need to do. Hold on. Let's fix something here that I had fixed in the old images, but I need to. Okay, so we're gonna do some Linux real quick. Hold on. Vi etc fs tab and rootfs is tempfs defaults, but I need to find how to change that. So tempfs change to more RAM. I'm gonna give it more RAM. So what is the setting to change that? Hold on. Get rid of that. I don't need it to be more. I just need it to. I need to set it to more. I don't care about that either. I just want to see. I know that the default. Hold on. Let's just go 4G. Okay. So now that's bigger. So we got 2.4 gigs instead of what we had before. So let's go back to install NeoFetch. Yep. Ah, I skipped it because we already had all that. All right. Get that out of the way. We don't need that anymore. All right, so we got a whole bunch of space now. I just want to see what the one looks like for Rocky. NK Coder said, if I may ask, what is your desktop environment on your Linux machine? I don't run any desktops on Linux. I'm running, so my home device is a Windows machine, but I use Linux all over my labs. But no, I've never run. For about 4 months when I worked at Best Western before the COVID layoffs, I ran a Linux desktop over there. And then in college, I ran an Ubuntu desktop for about 3-4 years back when I was in college. That was a long time ago. No, I don't run it. I've never run a Linux desktop aside from that stuff. But this, oh, look at that little guy. All right, that's officially Alejandro. That's pretty much the coolest thing I think I'm going to see all day. That's pretty cool. No one. Are there any minimum hardware requirements for Linux class? No. In fact, you can do all of the Linux class stuff in Killer Coda for free. The only people asked and wanted to do stuff on their own systems, and I said absolutely. In that case, I would say the minimum is right here. Hold on, I gotta go find it. These are presentations. It's in here, Unit 1. Gotta pull up our syllabus. All right. Oh, the syllabus was already open. Hold on. So for the class, this would be my minimums right here. If you were gonna run Killer Coda, you could. That's what's on Killer Coda. But if you wanted to run your own machine, I'd say that's the minimum, right there. Because we have something coming up where you're gonna need extra hard drives, and I have those hard drives on the Rocky boxes. So if you jump down in the Rocky boxes, you can just do whatever you want in there. X Shunyum, is your streaming schedule these morning ones on Prolog Discord? X Shunyum, I've tried to have like a good schedule my whole time streaming, but mostly it's just like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll sometimes be on at night. And then Friday I get on after work, just hang out for a little bit. Although this Friday I don't have anything to do because the wife's out of town, so you guys will get my date night, I guess. And then I'll probably be prepping more for the future college or the future Linux courses. And then Saturday I don't stream normally, but I might stream this weekend because, well, I don't have anything else to do during the day. I can go wrestle, I guess, but then after that I can stream. But then we're going to do our Linux system administration course for anybody that wants to do that. That'll be down in the Discord. And then Sunday I record the course. So Sunday will be me going over the course again, but on Twitch and YouTube for people that want. Because I know people have been asking, like, hey, you know, when's the course up? I already made a little playlist for it. So the first one is up in the playlist. So if you're, you know, looking around on YouTube, you can find it. If you're in the Discord, you can find it. It's right down here under Beginner Start Here. And there's here's the playlist for Linux Systems Administration course. There's also all this other stuff in here. Let me go to this API cert thing. Delete thread. That was me and one of the other guys talking. Okay. So anyway, so you guys have, you know, you got all this stuff to go mess around with and cause mayhem in the server. You guys can also, I mean, you know, we're pretty hands off there. You know, it's actually funny, in all the years we've run the Discord, one guy's left because one of our moderators told him he couldn't do something, and he left because of it. And other than that, I think we've removed like 3 people ever for, like, they had compromised accounts and they were just spamming all the channels. But those are like the only like administrative, like, discipline things we've ever like done in the server, like, because we're pretty hands off about stuff. I remember one guy was getting dangerously close to offending some of the people in the server because of stuff they were posting in the jokes channel, and it's like, I was just like, well, I was gonna let him just post whatever he wanted, and then if people don't like him, they don't like him. But some of the moderators were getting mad, and I was like, So I try to be diplomatic about that stuff because I too will post things that offend people if you let me. Um, but all right, but I try not to do that because I don't wanna get people. I tell people I don't want to divide the server up, right? I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm for Scott or I'm against Scott. This isn't the Scott show. It's say Scouter. This isn't the Scott show. This is the Linux group, right? Like we're doing Linux around here. Politics don't come into it, right? You just do Linux. Yeah, well, thankfully, Fisherman, you don't know anybody named Scott. Neither does your bot. So boom, boom, boom. Okay. Anyways, that was the question somebody asked about that, and then this is how you connect into our server. All right. I've got next week's. Let's see. I've got next week's. Let's go look. What do I have ready for next week? Oh, I've got our presentation ready. So the presentation I'm doing is actually what's behind here. The worksheet's not ready, and the lab is not ready. Oh man, I got to do some work later. So probably tomorrow I'll be doing some lab stuff because I don't even actually have a lab for week 2 because I accidentally gave you guys the week 2 lab in week 1, and I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I've messed this all up. Week 1 for me is normally just getting you guys down in a server. Like that's because that's how I treat my college students. Like I just get them in a server and then that's all we do the first week because gosh, sometimes gotta be careful how I say things, but sometimes like lowest common denominators is kind of hard to, because like everybody wants to run, but then a couple of people are like still putting their shoes on, and you're like, guys, like we gotta go, like we're supposed to be running here, and then those people never catch up, and then they'll quit, and it's like that wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't to get people to quit, because like a lot of you guys know, like I mean, if the goal was to get people to quit, we could do it. We'd just go run off and start doing fucking crazy shit, and nobody would be able to keep up, and then we'd be the king of the idiots. We talk about that in jiu-jitsu, like because people will just like train real hard and try to hurt each other and stuff, and it's like, yeah, and then when you're all injured, you just got one king of the idiots, and that's stupid. What kind of labs are we performing in the course over on the YouTube side? Yeah, so what we're doing is this first one was like getting into VI, doing Vim type stuff, Vim tutor. It was like there was some pipes, so technically it was stuff that I was supposed to do in the second one, but it's like some pipes and some redirects and some creating files and just like things that you can do at the command line, creating files with like date in them and some of that kind of stuff, like stuff that a systems administrator probably needs to know because they're going to end up using when they get into scripting and some of that other stuff. So it's kind of like stuff that ends up being foundational to like I gotta get you to understand this stuff so that we can move over to like the scripting, because the scripting, all the like putting logs in the right places and that kind of stuff is easier if you understand some of that variable and pathing and piping stuff earlier on, if that kind of makes sense. Yeah, and sorting and grouping logs are tremendously useful to see if something has recently started and if something has always happened, but always happened at only 5 times an hour, but now it's happening 15 times an hour, but then, maybe into today it started to happen 30 times an hour, and at that 30 times an hour, we're starting to see a performance hit of something. Now I start to have there's all kinds of things, and Quartz, we're doing that stuff at the command line. We're not even looking at like logs and trends and stuff. We should be using tooling for that and Grafana and all these other cool things that are out there to make our lives easier. But we really can do a lot of stuff with the basic tools if we know how to use our basic tools. And I tell you guys all the time, the one thing that I really would want you to know if you do the Linux System Administrator course is I want you to know how to use your tools before you need them. Because there's nothing worse as an administrator and an engineer than getting called, in the middle of the night on a Sunday, waking up and being like, oh God, I got this project due tomorrow. I can't take tomorrow off. I have to be there for this project or some deployment that I'm doing or some presentation I'm giving for, and then you're like, but I don't know how to do this thing. That's like the worst feeling ever. I don't know how to I got to get all this data and aggregate it and sort it down, but I don't know how to do it. That's like, guys, that to me, like if I'm just looking at that, I'm like, I should just quit right now. I'm just looking at it going, I got to get all this stupid data into one spot to give to these people for like 100 servers, and I'm like, I should just quit right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you don't want that, right? You want to know how to do whatever the tool is, whatever thing you are. So, anyways, yeah, foreign con, the labs for the server, or the labs for this are, we're going to be doing disk manipulation, and we're going to be building software RAIDs, and we're going to be doing logical volume management. So we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. And then that's just that's next week, I think. This week is I don't even know what I'm going to do this. I think I'm just going to build on some of that stuff for this week. And we're going to be doing troubleshooting on ping. So here, I'll give you guys a little. This is a little taste of what I have for this week. Linux System Administration 2. I got to change the date. Hold on, that's bugging me. There you go, change the date. It's this will be the 21st of September. What's that? Yeah, this will be the 21st of September. Let's save that real quick. And then this is what I'm talking about this week, right? It's here's our announcements, second meeting. Topic one. We'll talk about last week's topics. I want to talk about them. I want to dive in. I may even pull some stuff up because I have some people had some really good. I pulled this one from somebody today. There was some really good posts that were set today around like qualifications, and like we could sit there the whole time and just like dig through these and say, do I know about Nginx and Apache and Tomcat and what are those? And this is a job posting, right? Am I flexible for on-call support? Do I know what that means? All this Linux stuff, right? Strong experience writing automation with Ansible. I want you guys to be doing Ansible. But one of the main things is when we're doing that, I have you guys, like some of you guys remember this on Saturday. It was like, some of you guys were around. It was like, give me one of those when you're ready in a terminal. Like, and then we're going to go. And when we go, I think we kind of move fast, right? But the point is, I can drag some of you guys along by just doing the commands with me, right? Rodom, did I do a lot of commands on Saturday and make you guys do them with me? I think I did. And that's kind of the goal of this, is like to walk you guys through like what the process of being a systems administrator and engineer are. We start out as administrators. People give us the reins of their systems and let us run them, and then we move over to be an engineer as we kind of start to build new systems and make the systems that we understand better. So anyway, this is last week. This week, which is, we'll go through the this week stuff. And then okay, so then get into lab environment. So we won't get into the lab environment now, but in fact, I'm going to update that. And it'll be do the lab during the week. So we'll have the lab be its own discussion, so you guys could be down in there. Oops, this thing's super annoying. There. All right. But the lab will have its own discussion thread, so you guys can talk about the lab and what worked and what didn't work for you, that kind of stuff. And then let's keep going here. Hold on. And then we're gonna do some we're gonna talk about note taking, like how do you take notes and that kind of stuff. In your terminal, out of your terminal, how do we do drawings and what drawing tools are out there for us. And I may even have us practice some drawing. Like we're going to do, like we'll do a real quick little run through of like our network. And then I'm going to have you draw out what you kind of think of the network maybe, right? Like that kind of stuff. System permissions, we'll go through access control lists because I think it's good that people understand those. We'll look at the SE Linux permissions of a system. And actually I'm going to turn on SE Linux for the lab. So the Rocky servers will have SE Linux on this next weekend. So I got to do that. Administrative tasks. We're going to talk about these different pieces, powering on and off servers, maintaining an inventory, adding, changing, and removing inventory, where we go put that, all that kind of stuff. What does it mean to install and update software? How do we do that? How do we configure a repository in whether it's a Ubuntu box or a Red Hat box? We'll be looking at what's it called? We'll be looking at Rocky servers, but configuring repositories are tremendously important. And then configuring software to work within the cluster. How do we do that? How do we make sure all the systems have the right software? Then we'll talk about responding to incidents. We'll look at some system level failures and some security incidents. And I'm going to show you guys some of my log parsing stuff, like how I tear apart logs and do all that stuff. So we're going to do some of that. And then topics of discussions, we're going to do all of these different commands and look at them and play with them until probably some of you are tired of looking at them. And then I think, yeah, and then we'll do a drawing on the environment that you're in. So that'll be good. So like all this stuff you can, and I'll be like, just tell me everything you want to tell me about it, right? And I'll have you guys work on that for a bit. So it'll feel like busy work, but it'll be busy work for a good cause. And then we'll talk about the use method for resources, which we've talked about before, but I'll show some of these to you guys and I'll talk about them. I probably should do a little drawing over here of what the use method looks like. I need to draw that out. And then questions. You guys know how to get a hold of me if you need. So that's kind of what we're working on. That's kind of that. Oh, we're still supposed to be doing Socratic Linux though, and we're just messing around. You guys caught me monologuing again, so that's me kind of messing around instead of doing what I'm supposed to do. Probably why we don't have as many viewers. Well, I don't know. We're probably average viewers right now. So. All right. What's our time at? Hour and 32 minutes. I don't have anybody to raid because, you know, it's call me a curmudgeon, but every time I turn around, people like change something little for no reason. Well, no reason that I can perceive, and it bugs me. So one of the things that they've changed is if I wanted to raid people on Twitch. Oh, they do have people I'm following. Never mind. Maybe they just had that off the other day because I didn't have anybody I was following. All right. Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna go raid over to a technical guy that I know who does. He's building a game. He's doing it in Godot. It's a card game. It's a pretty fun little game. But you guys that are interested, come hang out down in our Discord. I have a whole, like, if you want to see the whole Socratic Method thing, there's like a 5-hour stream somewhere out there that you can find called the Socratic Method. I think you can go search through my videos if you want that one, where we actually did all of these. And then if you go on our Discord, excuse me, if you go to our Discord and you go to, I think it's under presentations. Probably wrong about that. Here's our Socratic Method. There's the screen, and there's everything right there in the notes. So you guys have all that. So yeah, JBricks, but you can always be down in the Discord. Even if you just got here, just go hang out down in Discord, and there's a lot of cool people down there that know even more than I do. So oh gosh, guys, we're up to, like, I was saying today we're almost to 3,000, but we're at like 2665. We only hit 2,500 the other day. So the Discord's growing, right? The goal is to get people into doing this stuff professionally. The goal is not to make money off of you. The goal is to get you guys doing this professionally. And then if you want, you can flip me a nickel. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Just come hang out down the Discord. We do. I think we have a good time down there. We hang out. But I feel like I've had a good skill as an engineer over the years of finding people that are better than me in some of these spaces and get you guys into doing this. So, yep. And Bright, thanks for following and over on the. If you just joined on the Discord, good. Go hang out. Go look around. Go down in Prolug Projects. That's where the event is happening. And let's go right over to. I'm gonna find. We're gonna go hit up Triple Jump Games. If you haven't seen him, his stuff's pretty good. But I will see most of you. I will be on tomorrow. I'm gonna be on pretty late tomorrow. Maybe we'll keep doing some of this. We might hit a lot of Ansible tomorrow. I think it'd be good to hit some Ansible and stuff. So hold on. Can I get over here and raid this guy? All right. And I will see you guys later. All right. Take care.